Now, hemp farmers are just getting a lot better at growing. The genetics are getting better. A lot of people are going more organic. You're seeing a lot better. People are getting away from using chemicals and all that kinds of stuff. So I think, what we've seen is the customer from farmers to manufacturers to customers, everyone's just getting smarter and understanding more and just holding a higher standard for the whole supply chain. And we're seeing that in live.
We're live. Thank you very much for joining me today, I guess this morning. I don't know what time it is where you guys are at early. It's what, an hour early, 9 o'clock your time?
It is. It's 9 a.m.
9? Okay, so it's 10 o'clock ours. But for those that are joining or when you join, please like, share, comment. If you like what you're hearing, you can also find all of our content on YouTube, Anchor, all the podcast channels. But I want to get started and dive right in because I have so many questions, especially around what you guys are doing. But I love an intro from you, both John and Ollie. How did you guys get into this? And where are you guys going? Where are you headed?
This has been a long journey for me and John. We started years ago, just really playing around with extraction and learning the process. And, we really got into this based on the fact that we hated the extraction process and we found all the bottlenecks in the extraction process. So that being said, John's a brilliant engineer and his background's in oil and gas. He's really the brains behind, the technology, and that's kind of how we dove in. We started extracting, and it was backbreaking, and we were spending hours, 10, 12 hours a day, and by the end of the night, we were just. It was like, one of the toughest jobs we've ever had physically. So that being said, we streamlined that effort and found those bottlenecks and built our company and started playing around with technologies, and here we are years later.
Okay, when you say backbreaking, what do you mean? Talk to me about what's this process look like for those that may not know, or for those that are, may not be in the extraction side. What made it such a difficult process, especially coming from oil and gas?
So my background, mine started, over 4 years ago, and first started by just taking biomass and dunking it into a container with cold ethanol, and then from there, really we got into using batch reactors and CO2 machines, and we would spend sometimes 8 or 10 hours a day extracting. And at the end of the day, we would have a liter of oil out of there. And so when you're going 10, 12 hours and you're getting 1 liter of oil, and at those times, it was a lot more expensive for that liter, so it made sense. But, 10 to 12 hours and 1 liter of oil using all this heavy machinery that was inefficient and that just didn't really work well. And so, me and John going through that, John really looked at it from an oil and gas background. He owns numerous patents in oil and gas, and we just looked at it and said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so that's kind of where the journey began, was just how do we get from, 10, 12 hours of hard labor to create 1 liter of oil or distillate to, how can we do this repetitively, continuously, to get 200, 300, 400 liters a day. So that was kind of the background. We tinkered around. We had a CO2 machine that was just breaking down left and right, and we had a batch reactor that would never work properly. So John put in the effort, and we really looked at this from a design aspect, and created some really, really cool technology.
Okay, so I want to hear about it, John.
That's a good intro about our company, and just kind of from my perspective, it's not just Ali and myself from a standpoint. We have kind of this background, but we have a well-rounded team, machinists, fabricators, engineering, sales, marketing. So we have a great company. That's who Entexs is, and so Entexs is not Entexs. So, anyways, this journey began with Ali and myself, like we just mentioned. For myself, I've been a career engineer for decades, and worked in oil and gas, and worked in a lot of different industries besides oil and gas too, precision motion and whatnot. And so, kind of getting into this industry from that perspective, I came into it from that perspective. I think there's a lot of different people that get into this industry from different avenues, and how they end up working in this industry is pretty unique. It's kind of the Wild West. But that's kind of my perspective and my path to get here. And so I think it makes for a unique value add to the company, and what we can offer too as a service and product provider, because that's how we're approaching it. We have some experience using kind of lab-based old types of processes and equipment, and then really what I saw and what this offers, us as a company, and also and the customers that we serve, is the opportunity to bring really innovative and great solutions to market that really work. And so that's what excited me about joining and starting this type of business, is the ability as an engineer to be very innovative, to bring great solutions to customers that don't exist, because we experienced this. I went to a school that our motto was learn by doing, and so that's kind of what we're doing. How we ended up here. We did this. We found a lot of labor constraints and inefficiencies in existing processes and products, and that's kind of our mission statement, is addressing those and really making a streamlined product that is efficient, is easy to use from a customer standpoint, and allows us to be innovative as a company. And we've brought in a team that's very proficient and has a lot of experience in exactly what we're doing. So we have machinists that have 30 plus years of manufacturing machining experience, making stainless steel parts and whatnot. We have sanitary process fabrication that has 20 plus years of experience building out sanitary process systems, breweries, food and beverage plants and whatnot. So I think from who we are as a company too, is we have a very focused, specific team that's focused on this industry. And so we include engineering, we include product concept creation, all the way through machining, manufacturing, fabrication to a finished product. And I think that's creates a pretty unique advantage for the customer, because we can really innovate great products from that standpoint, and deliver those products in a really short amount of time, that are really custom solutions for customers, and address these issues that Ali had talked about.
So we talk about the different types of remediation or extraction. What are you guys using? What sets you guys apart? What makes, I know that so much of it is product in is product out, but this extraction piece or the processing piece plays such a role in how much we absorb, or how it's consumed, or what end product it goes into.
Yeah, so in regards to kind of the method that we're using, there's a lot of different methods out there for processing and extracting and remediation. I think so. Extracting and remediation are kind of two independent processes, and they have different methods that are used for each one. So from an extraction standpoint, Ali, like he said, we've used CO2 and ethanol types of extraction solvents before. There's the light hydrocarbons, the butanes and whatnot. I've personally never gotten into those. I have a lot of experience using those types of fluids, but they just are something that I wasn't too interested in pursuing from a product solutions standpoint, just from the safety aspect and how they're used. And so looking at the what is scalable and what you can produce from a quality standpoint, an ethanol based solvent extraction platform is what we decided to go with as a company. And so it seems to be the best that we can find that's very scalable. And so, if you want to take something from the like cannabis space that's 100 pounds a day or less, and you want to scale that to the hemp space, as you know, which is what, 10,000 pounds a day, 20,000 pounds a day is like the need. You have orders of magnitude of scaling that you have to do to meet that customer demand. And so with that type of solvent and that type of process, that allows us to do that. And then in regards to remediation, we're just bringing this remediation product to market right now. And fortunately, we started down this journey of ethanol extraction technology, and then we just have been bringing to market this remediation solution. But that came after, really our ethanol-based solvent extraction technology, and the remediation technology that we're providing right now is really tuned for ethanol-based, cold ethanol-based extraction. So it's really a great fit for us from the technology side. So Ollie, you can maybe get into the remediation more, but there's a couple of different ways that's typically used right now to remediate THC out of CBD products. And so the technology that we're using is one of those ways.
Awesome. Ollie, do you have anything you want to add? I know we kind of turned it over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bore us with too much of the science behind it, but we're really excited. We just launched the product. It's most of the remediation that's currently in the market right now. It's all pretty new technology within the last few years. This technology that we've launched, it's been actually functioning for over 5 years in 1,000-kilo plus batches. So it's a tried and true method. We use certified USDA 100% organic solvents, proprietary to us. That took many years to figure out, and it's a scalable system. As John mentioned, we really like to push the envelope as far as technology. So everything we do is what we call hands-off technology. So it's fully automated, and you're really able to remediate in very large scales, comparatively speaking to the market right now, which is typically very small batches. So it just went online this month. We're having a lot of success with it, and we're really excited for the future in remediation technology.
So being able to do this brings lots of opportunity to get product at consistency. Where do you see the biggest need, or what have you seen is the biggest need for the industry to bring or bridge this gap and bring product to mainstream for consumers?
Well, I mean, one side of it is the legalization efforts right now, whether it's on the hemp side or the cannabis side. Those are all looking really positive. 2020 was pretty tough on the market as far as COVID hitting. And then the presidential race towards the end of the year really put a damper on investments and a lot of the flow of capital in the industry, in most industries. And what we've seen this year is everything is just really opening up, regulatory wise, and on the banking side and on investment side. There's a lot of cash flowing in the industry right now. We're seeing it. We're seeing the influx of orders coming in. We're working with keeping up with demand, which is an amazing problem to have. But it really comes down to, so on one side of it is the legal side, which is coming around fast. And then the other side of it really is, as you mentioned, is really being able to have consistency in the technologies and the extractions. That's what, the last few go-arounds in the industry, you had some ups and downs in the industry. It was really a learning process. People going out and raising a lot of capital, not really understanding, buying a bunch of equipment, and piecing what we call Frankensteining systems together. Getting an evaporation unit from one person, getting a battery reactor from one person, getting filtration from another person, kind of stringing it along, finding someone to kind of install it for you. And what the industry found was a lot of inconsistencies. So one batch was great, one batch was okay, one batch was great, and so on and so forth. Moving forward, as as legalization comes around and the Coca-Colas of the world and all these the big pharma and the big investment companies start rolling in, these guys don't play by small batches. They're going to want big batches. They're going to want big yields. And the name of the game is really going to be consistency and really compliance. So GMP regulations or compliance and EU GMP compliance, and being able to abide by a certain code of production. The days of me and John have walked through so many labs that are so dirty and wires hanging everywhere and dust falling on the ceiling and oil everywhere, just dirty. Those days, if you really want to last and you really want to create a long-term business, you're going to have to really have the best of the best processes, the best of the best SOPs in place, and the best of the best equipment, really to stand apart from the rest. If you're kind of building a lab with the same old with which is offered by everyone else, you're really going to be just another player in the game. Versus we kind of like to set ourselves apart, and any labs that we build really do stand apart in technology. So that's kind of where we see the industry going.
I love it. I agree and couldn't agree more. And for a long time, it's been kind of mind-boggling to me, because as a consumer, how do we know where our product is made or how clean it is or what the lab standards are? And where do you guys see this bridge being completed in standardizing the expectations for the labs themselves?
Well, I mean, there's very small. I mean, if you go to labs, you're right. I mean, is there beard hair getting into these extractions? Is there dust? Is there pollutants? How is it being made? I mean, again, going back to our old technology, you pull out your oil and then you have to go to what they call rotovaps, which means polishing off the the solvent from there. So you have to take it out of the machine. That's a process, and and then you got to get it into this big glass beaker, and there's all these imperfections that can get in, and then from there you have to take it out and put it into another device, and so you're pouring it from here, you're pouring it from there. There's a lot of touching of the material. There's a lot of handling of the material. And really, for us, we call our technology hands-off technology. That means that, on our big scale system, on our large scale systems, just from say 5,000 pounds per day to 20,000 pounds per day, you can run it with less than a handful of people, and no one ever touches the products or sees the products. We have sensors all through the system. We have sight glasses all through the system, so you can watch your product through the different processes. And literally, from loading of the biomass, you can put your feet up and watch it through that extraction process, through evaporation, and never see a product. The only time you see it is really when you're off taking the product. And we have methods of that where you still don't, the product still doesn't see the light of day. And, moving forward, that's going to be really key. And there's not a lot of people with that type of technology in the market right now. And we're really excited to forefront that type of technology.
I hear little kids in the background.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, guys. John's at the office. I haven't made it to the office.
Yeah, I left my kids at home. But just speaking on what Ali was saying in regards to just quality and knowing what you get, from the manufacturing and kind of engineering world, you have quality processes. You have ISO 9000. You have AS 9100 if you're working in aerospace or whatnot. And so, those are just quality processes that customers know you're making quality products consistently because you're certified to those levels. And that's where I think this industry is going as well in regards to if you're, making gummies or making an end consumer product, you have to have that type of quality process in place, which, is like a GMP type of process. And so that's really, I think, where this industry is going. That's where we see customers asking about, pretty much most of our customers are asking about that type of process and providing equipment that can support that for them for their side. So like it doesn't seem to be there yet. There's a lot of Garage Inc. Companies out there, which is great. I mean, from a standpoint of everyone in this industry, we're trying to get there, and the hemp space has come from the cannabis space typically in terms of how stuff is made and how processed and whatnot. I think that's changing, and hopefully we're a driver of that as well. But that's where I think we're going as an industry is making sure end products are traceable and customers know what they're getting, and that's what we're here to support as well, for sure.
So talk to me a little bit about this traceable piece, because I think it's extremely valuable in understanding where it came from and consistency and so forth. So where do you see that playing a big role now compared to in the future?
So, I mean, I think there's a term like seed to sale, right? Like traceability. And so that we actually work with, and Ali probably can talk to this a little bit more, but we work with quite a few different technology companies that offer that sort of traceable database or solution for customers to be able to trace their products, and how that ties into our system and kind of the solutions that we're providing to customers. We have a black box, say, and you have stuff coming in, you have stuff going out, right? And so really you want to know what's going in, and you want to know what's going out is tied to what's going in, so the customer knows that traceable avenue from seed to sale. So we have, in regards to our system, we have data acquisition, we have data files that we save and allow customers to interface with that to enter specific COA information or batch information, so that information is permanent and can be looked up as a record for quality. Then you get into some of these other networks that we're working with and technologies that we're working with. That can be tied now to more global databases that trace this, that other institutions can look at and really use from that standpoint. So we're implementing that side from our end, and then in regards to quality and data integrity, that information can be shared and utilized and supported with what the customer need is and where we're going to from a quality standpoint. So.
Well, and as John mentioned, with our systems we currently have in place, the customer is able to, again, from seed to sale, where the seed come from, the COA on the seed, the COA on the actual biomass, the input data information on extractions all through the process, and then who's off taking the oil, who's purchasing the oil, what retail chain is that oil to, and what customer purchased that oil. And you can, with our cloud network, you're able to track that whole stream effort. And I think in the future, that's going to play a really huge value as far as analytics and really who's buying the oil in what regions and demographics.
I think you're right. Well, and I'm always curious, and maybe you know this, but certain regions servicing certain areas, just like honey. If I consume honey, it's better for my allergies if it's local honey. I'm curious how hemp and how the production of local or consumption of local hemp also aids in any of these same concerns. Yeah.
I think at one time it did. I think now hemp farmers are just getting a lot better at growing. The genetics are getting better. A lot of people are going more organic. You're seeing a lot better. People are getting away from using chemicals and all that kinds of stuff. So I think, what we've seen is the customer, from farmers to manufacturers to customers, everyone's just getting smarter and understanding more, and just holding a higher standard for the whole supply chain. And we're seeing that in live, in real time, every day, whether it be from farmers to extractors to manufacturers to customers. Everyone just wants a better product. That's why, as far as our remediation technology and to be able to have USDA certified organic solvents really played a big factor to us. And I really think down the stream, as people, as the world is turning that way anyways, with Whole Foods and all these organic products, and everyone just wants to eat better and be healthier. That's a huge offering to have, and we're excited to see the industry going in that direction.
So you guys are able to process a pretty good sized volume, and there's been a lot of excess on the market, right? Where do you see the market, or do you see the market leveling out with the amount of farmers growing and then the access to quality processing?
Yeah, we 100% see it growing. I mean, just the amount of inquiries we're getting, on our website, we have a cultivator section, we have a processing section, and we're seeing inquiries all over the line. And it's just really growing, and it's growing really fast. Again, those last few iterations or ups and downs in the industry was really a big learning curve for everyone. Everyone was super excited and raised a bunch of capital, and when started farms and started extraction houses and all this, didn't really understand. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the industry kind of adapt and grow. I think we went from being children to now being teenagers. But as the Farm Bill came out a few years ago, now we're really feeling the effects of cannabis legalization. All these countries. I mean, who would have thought Mexico would be completely legal? And Europe is now going online to legalization. America is going online to legalization. With legalization, again, comes big pharma, comes the big players like Coca-Cola's and whatnot, and big banking. And so with that, you're going to see a huge boom here in the industry. I see it, in the next 6 months to a year. And again, you're seeing people getting better, processes getting better, technology getting better, and the industry really growing really fast. We had our board meeting yesterday, and that was one of our discussions. Is we're seeing an influx of customers right now on our website, reaching out to us, and all of a sudden from last year, hey, we're working on funding, to now, hey, we're funded and we're ready to buy. So we really feel and see the industry coming around, growing and expanding as we get legalization coming around.
What do you think it's going to take for us to really, I got two questions. How do you think that legalization of marijuana affects the hemp industry?
Yeah, I think it affects the hemp industry tremendously. I think that what it does is it brings legitimacy to the industry. Again, it brings big business, it brings banking, it brings pharma, and it allows these investment portfolios that typically couldn't deal with, marijuana being a class 1 drug and, all that kinds of stuff. Once that's gone, it really allows them to open up their portfolios to start investing. And then that's when you see the growth. I mean, everyone at one point in their life, for the most part, has smoked pot or is okay with it. We know that, cancer patients and all these people that take, whether it's, CBD oil to cannabis, it really helps. And they're finding the future of being able to get away from, using opioids as a base for pharmaceuticals to using cannabinoids. People are getting the same effects, and they're not getting the addiction rates or those horrible side effects that come with those types of opioids. So, the industry space with legalization, again, I think that it'll help the hemp industry also, and both industries are just going to boom. If you missed the .com boom or the cryptocurrency boom or the real estate boom. This is the next big boom, and this is the time to kind of jump on. And if you're smart, you can kind of create your stake in it.
I think this is bigger than those booms.
I agree. Well, I mean, it's an industry that, hey, when you have situations like horrible situations like COVID, it's kind of recession proof, just like kind of like tobacco, and unfortunately tobacco and alcohol is kind of recession proof. And so is cannabis. During COVID, cannabis was up 40%. And so it's just one of those industries that people love pot and people love CBD, and the world is coming around to it now.
And I think they're looking for an alternative source, right? The pandemic really, for a lot of people, made them question what they know.
Sure.
And look at alternative sources and natural medicines. And so if somebody wants to get into business, I've heard a lot of people say it's too late. It's too late to get into this business. You're a day late and a dollar short. What's your advice as far as somebody wanting to just start getting in, either been in business like in oil and gas or, yeah.
You know what? When we started, everyone told me that if I listened to everyone on every business, I've owned probably 20 businesses in my lifetime, and every businesses I've ever owned, whether it was family members to friends, it was like, oh, you're too late. I mean, every day there's a new gas station opening, every day there's a new McDonald's opening up, every day there's a new Starbucks, every day there's a new real estate company opening up. And so, I really believe it's, first of all, it's about the people of the business. If you're a person like us, we're really relentless, and we will will it into existence. And then you have the people that just don't have that mindset. Again, you're on the industry's in the upward trend right now. There's a lot of money to be made, and if you do your research, there's a lot of most people are projecting it to grow 100-fold. So that being said, people that understand businesses and that are risk takers and willing to fail, and if you have that type of mentality, where you're really going for something big, you can do that in this industry. So again, if you ask the average person, they're going to say, hey, don't do it. Don't open up that real estate company. Don't get in cannabis. Don't get into, I can't tell you how many people told me, you want to build extraction equipment. Oh my God, you're competing with some huge players, and you're too late, and this and that. And we've been able to grow and boom and create a really substantial business through this. So my suggestion is do it, dive in, be willing to fail, try different things, be ready to fail. But in that failure, I guarantee you there's a lot of learning experience, and you can always pivot. And sometimes you have to dive in head first to really make something big happen.
Well, my question is always, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get
Why
into
wouldn't
this
you?
industry?
Yeah.
This industry is, but it's like technology. It's in every facet of our lives. It will be everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me, when you say new technologies coming out, where are you guys headed? What do you see on the horizon, either for the industry and or, your business specifically? What's really watching?
Well, I mean, for us, it's all about, as John knows, is pushing the envelope. It's really finding the latest and greatest technologies, creating the latest and greatest technologies. We've been able to create some technologies that no one in the industry till this point has really been able to accomplish, and so so my job as a CEO is to look at what are the bottlenecks and what can we build that will help streamline these efforts. And so we've been able to build our IP portfolio with that mentality, but also we have some really exciting stuff coming out over the next 2 to 3 quarters that's really disruptive, and that's going to really make people's lives a lot easier as far as extraction from the farmer all the way up to the manufacturing. Really be able to streamline the efforts, really be able to make it so, again, it's a really clean process. So we're really excited for the next few quarters.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, just so from my end, like there's in this industry, it's so open ended. I mean, we have specific kind of um, uh, disruptive technologies that we're bringing to market, like products that we're bringing to market, but there is a million other innovations, products, solutions that exists that are substantial to apply to what we're doing in this industry, or that are really customer recommended efficiency improvements, or products that there's a need out there for customers that we don't think of, but as an engineering and manufacturing company, we can provide. So there's these specific disruptive technologies that Ali is saying that we'll bring into market, but there is, as in regards to what is available to provide to this industry space, it is so open-ended. It might be too open-ended almost in that regard, because it's hard to find focus on what to put your capacity to work as a company. So there's no shortage of that at all from a standpoint of providing solutions to customers that's in our wheelhouse.
I agree with you. I always said when I got into this, it was like eating an elephant with a baby spoon. It is so big, and I just didn't realize how big or how far the tentacles spread, I guess, when we talk about hemp, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we work with very, very well-established companies that have been servicing other industries for 100 years, and they're coming into this space, providing their solutions to this market. Bless you, by the way. And they're seeing that they need to be innovative, because their solutions that they've been providing to other industries and commodities for the last 50 years or 100 years don't work for this specific industry, and the solutions and the processes that are needed. And so there's such a big just a big area for product development and for unique solutions, from farm to final product, and with packaging, if it's processing, if it's any of that, is just so open-ended right now. So it's exciting from a standpoint of from us being a one of those product solution providers. So
lots of opportunity.
Mhm.
Tell me how your process, or how what we're developing, right, for the industry is a benefit to our farmers. So many of our farmers have taken such a hit, either with bad genetics or not having an agreement at the end that was stable, not having processing equipment, whatever it might be. Where does this piece of the supply chain really go back to benefit our farmers in the long run?
Yeah, so as we've been building our business, me and John have spent so much time actually going out to the different farms all over the United States, and in different countries, meeting the farmers. And again, those first few iterations in the industry, the farmers got screwed in a lot of different ways, whether it was creating toll deals with manufacturers and, hey, we're going to get you X amount of yield, and there was so much inconsistency in the actual extraction process that they just lost money, or dryer companies, sitting on the biomass because the dryers weren't working, and the biomass degrading over time, and just so many different ways that farmers lost money. And we see that with the lower hemp prices now. I remember a time where, hemp was going for, $50 to $100 a pound. And, now you can get it for, for pennies on the dollar to, on the top end, $5 a pound. And so, we've been trying to address that issue. And we are now rolling out a process to work with farmers. It's an initiative that we're taking to where the farmer themselves can also process and offtake the oil and get an ROI on their investments immediately, and a lot more substantial than just selling biomass or top flour. So that's something that will be hitting the ground over the next few months. And it's really, we really believe it's really exciting for the farmer to be able to kind of take their livelihood in their own hands. And with typically in the past, you didn't really see farmers manufacturing so much because of the fact it's a pretty defined process, and it can be really difficult and backbreaking for what we found. So again, with our technologies and how we've made it pretty much hands-free and very simple, so to speak, comparatively speaking, to most systems, we believe that the farmers can actually do it themselves. They have the manpower to do it. They have the space to do it. And we're going to provide them the means and the means to be able to do it. And we really believe that over the next few years, you're going to see a lot more farmers actually processing.
Cool.
Yeah. To follow up on what Ali said there, I remember we had developed we thought state-of-the-art system that could process a large throughput of biomass, and it was 800 plus pounds a day of processing using kind of a standard batch centrifuge type of extraction process, and it was better than most of the systems out there in regards to what was available and what could be run from a throughput standpoint. I remember sitting down with several farming groups and saying, hey, this is a great solution for you, and they're like, well, they're hemp farmers, and they're like, well, this is, we have 1 million pounds of biomass. Like this isn't going to touch it. You're talking about a drop of water in the ocean. So, in regards to how we can provide these types of solutions and make that farming, make these solutions more available to farmers, that's something that we've specifically done with making hemp specific processing solutions, because when you're talking about 5,000 plus pounds a day of throughput, I mean, I don't think anybody's doing that with cannabis. So we've really developed our product line specifically tuned for the demand for hemp processing, and that's been a direct customer feedback from the farmers right there. So I think that's something we've taken into consideration and really developed our product lines around.
I think this is something that comes up. It's something I hear all the time is, well, what are you doing for the farmers? And I think that until we have this supply chain in line and steady contracts, our farmers are in R&D and they're in this constant up and down. And so I think this is a critical piece to their success.
Agreed. Without the farmers, I mean, there is no industry. So at this point, there was a point where the farmers are making pennies on the dollar, and and then you look at, say, the retail supply chain when a tincture is selling for $70 that has a few drops of oil in it, and you're looking at 10,000% markup on that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we can't do it without the farmers, and we're trying to find it. We're looking at solutions to really get them to be more profitable, because as they're happier, as they're growing more, the industry is growing more, and so we're happy. We know the importance of farmers, and we're happy to kind of support them and make sure that they're able to feed the family.
So where do you guys see the end product selling into? Where are our big end markets right now?
So I mean everywhere. I mean, we have through the years we've met a lot of friends and built many labs of different companies, and there's companies out there that are just doing white label products. They're creating tinctures and balms and gummies and white labeling it off, and being very successful at it, and it's going to hundreds or thousands of different companies. But yeah, so I mean, it's funny. I went to the store yesterday, to go get something for my wife, and I was going down the aisle, and all I saw in the lotion department is just this hemp lotion and hemp this and hemp that, and it's amazing that now when you go into CVS or you go into a Big Lots or you go into a Whole Foods, you see hemp everywhere, or in cannabis products everywhere now. It's just become mainstream. I have my aunts and uncles and my mom now, hey, can you send me a package of, this or that with CBD? I mean, it's just, I never thought I would see the day. So, as the industry grows, as we see this next go around, this next boom, with legalization coming around and whatnot, I think you're just going to see more and more products and more SKUs on the shelves, and just full on expansion mode. We're going to see it everywhere, and we already are. So, it's just going to get to, it's becoming a common household item. And I think it's going to be more and more so. And people are, I think, just wanting to get away from pharmaceuticals and chemicals. And I think people are really seeing the benefits of CBD and cannabis.
Where should people be paying attention? Where is this industry? Where's the next big opportunity? Or what should people really be paying attention to? I'm big on the textile side, or the fiberglass, or automotive, biofuels. What about the health and wellness side, or CBD side?
I think it's everywhere. Again, we're getting inquiries for everything. There's people creating, hempcrete. They're building houses with hemp byproducts, and cars, and airplanes. And so I think that the industry is becoming very creative on how to take that byproduct and create products from it. And like you said, whether it's from fibers, whether it's for clothes, whether it's for medicines, we see full-on expansion everywhere from all over the world. Again, from Israel to Europe to Australia to the Americas, you're just seeing full-on expansion on the actual product. And people, at one point, I remember there was a point, with cannabis, people would just throw the trim away. They would trim it up and they would burn it or throw it away, and that's what you did with it. And I remember people were shocked when people were getting 200, 300 pounds at that time for trim. They were like, holy S, like, this is crazy. And so now what you're finding is they can use everything from the root to the stems, to the stalks, to the flowers, to the biomass. Every part of the plant is being utilized in one way or another. And with any expansion, you're going to see that more and more. As the internet, blew up during that tech boom, say like the 90s, you just started to see the branching effect of, all these new companies like YouTubes and these pay services and just all these different things that came from the internet. So as you have just hemp and cannabis industry, you're getting that same effect of all these different companies kind of expanding from that base portfolio now into all kinds of new and exciting technologies.
I love it. It's fascinating. And if it's every day, if I only hit one person to explain opportunity in the hemp industry, then I'm doing my job, because
it's booming. I mean, there's
opportunity for our kids.
Oh, there's a lot of opportunity in it. And if you're smart and you have if you're able to offer something that's needed in the market right now, I think that you can do really well.
Absolutely. Okay, so I just have a couple of more questions. Product, sure. When it comes to you or into the machine, is it dried or do you extract wet?
So our machines, you could really extract wet or dry. We have certain SOPs in place that we prefer a certain amount of moisture content in there. The wetter you extract, the more chlorophyll, fats, and lipids you can actually extract, and then there's just that'll you're going to have to change your ethanol a little bit faster. The name of the game is to keep recirculating your ethanol. With our systems, the ethanol just keeps circulating through the system, so you don't have to keep adding or replacing it often. So we typically like a a 12 to 20% moisture count. So we like it dried, and we like it like a coarse chop. And we find that when you do that, you get the cleanest and the best extracts, and you don't do a number on your filtration systems.
Mm-hmm. And then isolation and terpene extraction. Can you talk to me a little bit about what's the big benefit to this and the buzz? Because this, I think, is more trendy than it has been.
Yeah, well, John, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can expand on that. So, in regards to terpene, so those are two separate things: the isolation and the terpene products. And so, with the terpenes, the light monoterpenes and those like flavorful aromas we can extract, and typically that's done in the cannabis markets. But with hemp, there's really great strains of hemp that have these great terpenes and aromas to them that are being grown now. And so with that sort of process, we use a low temperature steam-based terpene extraction process. And so with that, you can target these light terpenes and really create these flavorful aromas. You don't need much customers don't need much of that to use in their products. And it's something that you can really target. And it's I think a great niche for customers to be able to remove those from the plant base prior to extraction or just in general. And so that's something that we're seeing a lot of kind of unique need for and interest in from a customer standpoint. And then in regards to the isolation process, so isolates is pretty much pure CBD. It's a powder basis, it's a solid, and so that process is used for a lot of different things. So there's a unique need for that in the market from a customer standpoint and product standpoint. And so right now you can do it. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and our process that we use to do it is a temperature cycle, and we use a solvent to take distillate, and really you're in the 90% tile range of CBD with distillate, and then that's a fluid-based product, and you can run it through an isolation reactor, and you can create a solid powder-based product with isolate. And so those two technologies are something that we mate to our extraction equipment and our those product solutions to be able to kind of run from biomass to kind of the way we envision it is you have a biomass source. It's like Ali said, it's a dried biomass source, and you can take that and you have multiple product streams that customers really want. And so one is full spectrum crude and distillate, which is a fluid or oil based product, and then from there you have the isolates, which are more refined. And so that's what we're doing as a company, is providing those solutions to your daughter likes isolate, I can tell, Ali. And so that's what we're doing, is providing those solutions to customers to be able to create those end products.
And if I can add one thing to the terpene, it's become really important for terpene extraction, because before most say vape lines or anyone that was doing extraction was doing their extraction, then a lot of people were using like fake terpenes or terpenes that are chemically manufactured. But what you're finding with that whole organic push and seed to sale push, people want, if you're a cannabis guy and you're extracting, say, White Widow, you want to smell and taste White Widow. You don't want anything else, and you want it to be organic. So as you're doing your extraction, and say you get your distillate, from the distillate, now you have your distillate in one hand and you have your terpenes of the same COA, the same product, and you mix the two and you have one product from the same plant, versus any kind of chemicals or any kind of and really any chemicals being put into the product.
Right. Well, and terpenes play such a role in your entourage effect, right? And I think that
Completely.
more and more education is coming out about them and the value and how important they are. So slippery slope maybe, but what about Delta 8? Where do you see Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, or Delta 10 and 11, I guess, not 9, but where do you see them falling on
Yeah,
this?
I mean, we've been in this for years now, and every year there's the new, whether it was from CBD to CBG to CBN to CBZ and to CBX, Delta 1, 2, 3 to 100. As technology grows, people are understanding the different cannabinoids, the different effects. Delta 8, I think, is an awesome product. It's in the infancy stages right now. People are just getting their hands around how to create it and potentially how to create it more naturally versus some abrasive approaches right now. Of course, then you have Delta 10, which is like the new, which everyone's really trying to figure out right now. But that's just the industry. So as technologies get better, as PhDs start coming in, we're seeing a lot of PhDs coming into the industry, a lot of chemists coming into the industry, and they're bringing their take on this, and that's what's happening. You're seeing all these cool new products coming out, and you're going to have your bumps in the road where the regulatory side of it is going, what do we do with this Delta 8, because it kind of gets you high, but there's no THC in it, so where does it fall in this whole gray zone, so to speak. And that's in any industry, that's going to be the infancy stages that you're going to go through. And we're going to keep going through those over the next X amount of years. And there's always going to be the new product. And I think, time will tell how they get regulated and what's going on. But you see governments and states getting involved now with Delta 8 and the topics coming up more. But it's kind of like John said, it's kind of the wild, wild west right now, where people are just kind of trying it, trial by error, but that's the beauty of an emerging market, and it's exciting. Again, we can have a conversation next year this time, and we'll probably be talking about Delta 13 and Delta 18.
Something different.
It's going to be something in the CBX. Who knows
what do you mean next year? It'll just give it a month or two.
Yeah,
It'll be much sooner than a year from now.
Yeah, it's super exciting. That's what we're seeing. And as a technology company, we look to adapt routines in our extraction process that help people create these different products. So we're excited to have that, and we're going to keep pushing the envelope.
Cool. Well, I am very thankful to be connected, guys. I love to link arms and highlight people that are doing it right in the industry. I did share your contact information. If anybody else needs anything or wants help reaching out or getting in touch with either Ollie or John, don't hesitate to contact me at globalhempassociation.org. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign off? It's been an hour already.
Oh, well. John?
Yeah, no, just thanks for your time, Mandi, and having
Absolutely.
us on. And it was great to be a part of this, and yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mandi. Let's do this again sometime. Let's catch up over the next few quarters and do this again, and let's see what's come out and how the industry has changed from there.
So I'd love to have you guys on a Q&A session. I do an education series every Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, but I'd love to do one specifically around extraction, remediation, isolation, all of that, and equipment.
We would love to do that.
Okay, we'll set something up. It's probably the end of June, but let's get something together.
Awesome. Sounds good, Mandi. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to talking more. Take care.
Absolutely. Talk soon. Thank you, guys.
Bye.